2021 was a strange year that just feels like it was suddenly gone. Like nothing happened and that I didn't learn or progress, but that's far from the truth. I sat down and made a list of everything that I learned, and suddenly 2021 wasn't such a bad year, and it was actually quite a good year. So let's go through my list. I started the year with leaving my studio in a storage unit, and all I brought with me was a sound device, a sound interface, a microphone and a pair of headphones. And suddenly I just started making so much music. In the first 2 months I made like 20 songs or something like that, which is more than I have ever made in such a short amount of time. So what I learned was that my worst fear, which was not to have a studio, was maybe my biggest inspiration source. And that not having all of the gear to think about was like a blessing and not a curse. So it's like the more music I made, the more I didn't care about gear. Even though I have a lot of really awesome gear that I would never sell. But I also know that it doesn't help me with making music, which is a bit strange. With only my interface, microphone and headphones, I also became much more portable, which means that I could make music everywhere and I didn't have to be in the same position every time I had to do something. Which means that I can make music in my bedroom, in my living room, in the kitchen. But it's like not having to be in the same chair, in the same room, like in the same house. It just becomes more living, making music. It's more about making music when I want to make music, instead of making music when I'm in this specific place, which was my studio. So it's about utilizing what I got. So for example, I love to write songs with like lapsed piano, and it really gives me a lot. But then I know when I get to a studio where there is a real piano, then I can re-record it and turn it into something which is like really how I wanted it. And I just learned how much it brings to the music to like perform everything. Like play it with your own fingers or have somebody do it, because there's just all of these things that we communicate that is so difficult to come through with when we are thinking about it instead of performing, doing. And that's also one of my New Year's resolutions, that I want to do more. I want to perform more, turn more knobs and play more instruments. Something strange happened. One day I sat down to try to make a lift over the songs that I liked, because I want to make an album. Actually, I just wanted to make an EP. But then what happened is that I figured out that I kind of loved all the songs I wrote. Like, not some of them, but all of them. It was really strange. I actually had to call a friend and ask like, hey, this is strange. But what I figured out is that when I do something new in every song, then it just becomes exciting for me to do. And when it becomes exciting for me to do, then I like it, because excitement is what it's all about. When I have a challenge, then I need to focus on trying to solve the challenge instead of just trying to write a good song. Writing a good song is like being an inventor and trying to invent a good invention without having a problem. A good song and a good invention always comes from a problem. A wondering is like, why is this like this? When I start writing a song because there is something I want to investigate, because there is something that makes me wonder, then I start to do it because it's exciting, not because I want to be good. And yeah, it works. It just makes it 10 times more exciting to make music, and my music gets 10 times more exciting. And that makes me happy. And it could be how to like perform more in my songs. It could be to be like, how can I write lyrics more freely? How can I challenge how I use chords? How can I make a song with this instrument? Yeah, it's quite simple. So from writing fast songs, I have learned more than I ever dared to dream about that I could learn, because it has just been this like starting to understand what it's all about and starting to believe in myself that I can actually write these fast songs that I also love. We can do so much more. It's just like this thing that every time we meet an obstacle, we need to like believe that we can solve it, because what often has happened to me previously is that I've just like, oh, there's a problem, maybe this isn't a good song. Yeah, I will just quit it and then write something else. And it's like the belief that I can solve this problem just means that instead of quitting writing the song, then I just spend the 5 minutes that it often just takes to like do maybe 3 or 5 solutions for how to solve it. And then suddenly it's like, whoa, because when you solve something that you don't find an instant solution for, then it just means that you learn something and you find something that expands your way of thinking. And it's like, yeah, it's just a crazy feeling. And starting to believe that I can write a song no matter how little or much inspired I am, and just being able to sit down and like 2 to 3 hours later I have a song and I'm happy. It's like, it's a crazy thing, and I think you should all sit down and try to write these fast songs until you get the feeling of how easy it actually is to write a song. Because still now, it feels like writing a song is so difficult, but then I just think back and like, hey, this is how it always feels before I sit down and write a song, and I always succeed. And it's just like all of these experiences of me succeeding just makes it easier. And the more times you sit down and succeed, the more easy it gets. And it's all about believing that you can do it, because everybody can do it. And knowing that you can do it is just like an amazing feeling. And a fast song is just a song that you write as fast as possible. You shouldn't try to do it bad, but you should just not think that much and then just start do. And I think it's a good idea to try to use some of my bulletproof techniques, which is just about how to do something new. And then, yes, you should do something new. And then you just use your voice and one instrument. And it's really easy, and yeah, do it. Writing lyrics has become easier. It's still the hardest part for me when writing songs. But I think I've found out what the problem for me is. And that is like, I'm so afraid that people will misunderstand me. And knowing this means that now I can start to search for a solution. And the first solution that I found was that I should start to play around with the lyrics more. And just like with all of my other bulletproof techniques, I should find alternatives. I should like try to do the unknown by trying to make options that doesn't come to me naturally. How to come up with words and sentences that is not naturally for you. For me, I've started using a random word generator, because that just means that instead of I'm just going through the same words, and therefore I'm kind of in this loop of doing the same over and over again, I get exposed for new options. And that just takes me new places, and when I start to explore these new places, then it just gets more fun and playful. Writing these words that doesn't show up in my mind naturally is also just so much more exciting than everything I've ever done, because it just becomes this adventure around just on this quest of trying to do something that I think is exciting. And that's also really the key, to make it as much exciting as possible. And no, it's not exciting to be afraid of being judged or misunderstood, but knowing that I'm extremely scared of being judged by what other things, or just misunderstood actually. It's like now I have something now I have something to work with. And I know it's kind of silly and foolish, but it's like words are just words, and chords are just chords. And it's just like, I've never been afraid of being misunderstood with a chord or a melody. And maybe I could get the same feeling with words. And in honesty, I think I'm getting there. And it's really slippery here. Still going. I'm starting to understand what it means to be inspired and what inspiration actually is and why it's so important. Because inspiration is a part of this loop that we need to get going to be able to be creative. This loop is, we get inspired, we do, and by doing we get inspired, and we get inspired, and then we do, and sometimes this loop stops working. And to get it going, we either need to find inspiration, so we get started to like do something that makes us inspired, or then we need to do something. And this is where all of my bulletproof techniques comes in handy, because my bulletproof techniques just works. I will promise you that when you do it, you will do something that truly inspires you. And when you do that, then you get inspired and you start doing, the loop starts going again. And it's a bit difficult for me to explain still, but just think of it that inspiration is what makes you start do. And the way to find inspiration is by doing. So the hardest part about making music is to start doing. And it's just 10 times easier to actually sit down and do if you know that what you're doing actually works. And that's why my bulletproof techniques are good, I think. At least that's why they're so amazingly good for me. And then another really awesome thing has come to my attention, which is the sentence, do the unimaginable, which is all I'm kind of exploring at the moment. It is simply the most exciting thing that I know of when making music, because doing the unimaginable means like, yeah, writing this song that you would never think of, but it's just like blowing your mind, because it's like you just created something completely new. You didn't do something which is like, oh, this is cool because it sounds just like him and him and him, and I'm like good enough as them. But this is like, whoa, I just created something that didn't exist before. And that is like mind-blowing for me, especially because when knowing about it, it's actually easy to like go for. It's not something that happens by accident. Or it has been like that for me, that it was something that happened by accident. But now I'm just trying to like recreate these accidents by exposing myself for options that I don't really like, because what happens when we make an accident is that we do something that we didn't think would fit. So by exposing ourselves to all of these things that doesn't seem like they would fit, then yeah, we will get exposed to like these amazing ideas that we just couldn't imagine would be amazing. So for me, music is all about just aiming for the unimaginable, because it's just the most exciting thing about music I have ever explored. And yeah, it's all about doing what excites you. I have also learned that I can only do one thing at the time, which means that if I'm working on one song and I get an idea for another song, then I don't do it, I don't even think about it. Sometimes I write it down, but often I just don't write it down even, because when I start to think about multiple things, then my brain shuts down. And it's all about believing that great ideas will come when I need great ideas. And it also just makes it 10 times easier to like sit down and actually do something. It's like sometimes I have like 4 different tasks that I need to do, and I just get overwhelmed, even though the tasks are actually fun, because it's like, where should I start? And then I do a bit of everything, and then my brain just shuts down, and it's like one thing at the time, and then we do the other things when we agree to do the other things, instead of everything interfering all the time. And then a minor thing, but an important minor thing. I changed from Spotify because Spotify simply pays the artist the least. And I just want to support the platforms which actually pays the artist the most. And I think you should do it too. Spotify has the best interface and everything that I have experienced so far. But as an artist and as a music lover, I think I need to support those who support those I love, which is the artist. So think about it. It's easy. It's a way to support yourself also. So that was 2021. But now it's time for 2022. And I guess this year is going to be as I want it to be. So what do I want it to be like? I want to perform more. I want to play more piano, and I want to play more guitar. I want to play more drums, and I simply just want to turn more knobs, and yeah, I want to perform more. And that's one of my main goals for this year. More performing and playing around, and less drawing in MIDI. And then I want to write more songs. This year I want to write a new song, at least one song a week. And can I do it? Yes, of course I can do it. And I will try to share it with you as much as possible, because that would also be a way for me to like be even more motivated, I think. But I want to write a song a week, because writing a song a week makes it easier to write more songs, and it just fuels everything. It fuels my ideas for being creative and having my music school, and it just makes living life easier, because when you do something that you fear a bit every week, then you just start to not fear as much. And when you fear less, you can feel happiness more. I want to write 10 minutes of lyrics every day, because every day I write 10 minutes of lyrics, I just feel happier. And every day I do it, it just gets easier and easier, and it gets easier to be more playful, and it's also just a really good thing for me to like pick my own brain. It's like a good way of like figuring out how I feel, and just a good way to like, yeah, say hello to myself. And that's important. So 10 minutes every day. And I will probably also share it with you somehow. Because again, maybe it can motivate you too. Doing something every day that makes you happy. Yeah, I think that's a good thing to do. And then I want to release more music. Because there is only one way to like really truly learn how to finish your music. And that is by releasing it. And I just want to like not fear releasing it as much as I do now. I just think I need to do it, because I have so many amazing songs that I listen to myself right now, and it's like, it's just this feeling of why would anybody else be interested in listening to this? But it's like, it doesn't really matter, because I like it. And I think every time we do something that we really like, then we should share it with the world, because sharing what we like and what we love makes the world a better place, I'm sure. And then the most important thing, I think, is that I want to continue challenging what I feel. So that also means to figure out what I fear. And I fear playing live, I fear releasing my music. So that's some of the things I'm gonna do. But I'm gonna sit down and actually just make a list of what I fear. And then start doing it, because that's the best way to like live a life with a lot of happiness and love. And it's just like this way of expanding who you are and what you're capable of. Because fear just pulls you down and like tells you that you're nothing. But you are something and you're great. And we just need to remember that. So at least one song a week and 10 minutes of lyrics every day. Release more music, perform more, and do what I feel. I think 2022 is going to be a killer year. A killer, awesome year. And I hope you will have a really awesome 2022. And please let me know, what are you going to do in this new and wonderful year? And as always, if you like my video, please hit the thumbs up and consider to subscribe to my channel. That would truly make me happy. Enjoy!